Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is, April Fools. Happy April Fools. It's Plat Gaming. And for April Fools, I wanted to do something a little different, but I didn't want to just do like a little 5-second video. Hee hee ha, got you. See you next month. So this time, what we're going to do is not the usual fighting game fare. We're going to delve into the realm of hero shooters with Overwatch, because our character this month is Tracer. Now, Tracer is obviously the face of Overwatch. I will not be hearing Kiriko nonsense. I don't care how they could give Kiriko a skin every week for the rest of time. Tracer is the face that runs the place, alright? Tracer is, of course, one of the original characters, all the way back even in the beta of Overwatch before full release back in 2016. And I think she exhibits a really nice mix of high skill. You really need to know what you're doing to get value out of her. Great map knowledge, and I think Tracer's been meta for most of her life cycle, and it never really felt oppressive to me. It always felt like, yeah, she earned it, You have to be good with her, you have to have map knowledge, you have to have matchup knowledge, and Tracer exhibits all of that. Now, for the story, of course, since Tracer's been here since the beginning, she's involved quite a bit in the overall story of Overwatch. Tracer is also known as Lena Oxton, and originally she was just a pilot for the British Royal Air Force. After testing a experimental plane called the Slipstream, Tracer was thrown through time, and for an extended period of time kept sort of shifting throughout time. Winston created a device called the Chronal Accelerator, which helped to keep Tracer grounded in the correct time period, but it also allows her to sort of blink around the battlefield, and of course earning her name Tracer. After getting helped by Winston, she's recruited to Overwatch, and her first major mission is the Uprising mission, which is of course in her hometown of London. The mission in London is a success, and Tracer is graduated to become a full-fledged member of Overwatch rather than a trainee or an apprentice or whatever. And we next see Tracer in the Storm Rising mission, which is led by Sojourn in Cuba. In Cuba, they're investigating Talon, but they don't manage to apprehend any Talon leaders. Instead, they run into Maximilian, who offers to introduce them to Doomfist, who is the current leader of Talon. Eventually, of course, because of Blackwatch and the rift between Soldier 76 and Reaper, Overwatch falls to pieces. Public opinion kind of turns on Overwatch, and Overwatch is disbanded. During this time, Tracer still helps out. She still uses her powers and stuff to help out around London. During one event where the Omnic monk Mandata comes to London to give a speech for Omnic rights and stuff like that, Tracer tries to interrupt an assassination attempt by Widowmaker. Of course, Widowmaker is there to assassinate Mandata, to sow discord amongst Omnics and humans for Talon, just chaos reigns, that kind of stuff. Tracer is unsuccessful in stopping the assassination, and Widowmaker gets away. This, of course, the events of this segment, that is the cinematic short Alive, which released way back when Overwatch came out. In another cinematic short, Tracer gets her rematch with Widowmaker and Reaper with Winston at the museum, the Overwatch museum, where Widowmaker and Reaper want to get Doomfist's gauntlet, and Tracer and Winston stop that from happening. The most recent mission we've seen Tracer on is the Null Sector missions in the, scrapped PvE portion, where Tracer and a few other heroes have to stop Null Sector in a variety of locations. Watchpoint Gibraltar, Rio, I think they go to Canada, and they do stop Null Sector from doing whatever it is they wanted to do, but they do not apprehend Ramatra, so I'm sure Null Sector will show up again in the future. And currently, although the story is still ongoing, with the replacement of Doomfist with Vendetta for the Talon leadership, Tracer is with the newly reformed Overwatch to hopefully take down Talon for good. Now moving on to Tracer's abilities, with the new update and, you know, Season 1, and it's back to Overwatch and the whole refresh, they introduced the sub-role feature, which gives every character an additional passive. So Tracer is a DPS, which means that any damage that she does inflicts a slight healing reduction, right? Her sub-role is a flanker, which means that health packs give Tracer more HP. Now, this is really good for Tracer, as I'm sure you might guess, because small health packs, which usually give 75, give Tracer 150. So essentially a small health pack, which comes back faster than a large health pack, are more dispersed throughout the maps, bring Tracer right back to full HP. Tracer's primary fire are the pulse pistols, which are sort of short-range machine pistols. You know, they have damage fall off. They are, I think they're projectile. They might be, no, they are hit scan. They are hit scan. But because of the spread on it and the fall off, anything farther than, you know, arm's length, and you're tickling these guys. Each shot, you know, point blank. If you're point blank, it's a non-moving target. You get all headshots. You will melt just about anybody in the game. Of course, that's not how Tracer works. You know, people are going to be moving. Tracers should be moving. So I think it's more useful to think of your DPS from your primaries as a sort of range, right? 100% damage potential is that headshot point blank, nobody's moving, you just erase this person from existence. That's unobtainable in a majority of situations. So I think you should be aiming for maybe 50 to 70, maybe 80 damage potential, right? You want to keep that ideal distance. You know, maybe, so you think of like a Reinhardt swing, the distance that might cover. Just outside of that is sort of the ideal range for Tracer. Me personally, because of the spread of the weapon, I like to aim for the sort of upper chest area. A lot of times the recoil on the spread will catch some headshots. And of course, because I'm shooting center of mass, a lot of damage is still hitting that body. It's not critical shots, but you know, you're applying that healing reduction, you're getting pressure on, you're taking, hopefully, their attention away from the tanks and the healers, and having them focus on this little nuisance to the side, right? Tracer's first ability, and absolutely her bread and butter, is the Blink ability. Tracer has 3 charges of these at any given time. They recharge individually. And each blink teleports Tracer about 7.5 meters in the direction that she's moving, right? So even though you're looking a certain direction, if you're moving left and you blink, you'll blink left. This is a crazy thing because you can immediately shift your momentum, right? Which throws off tracking and makes it incredibly hard to actually hit Tracer, because Tracer's already a small character, and with this blinks, and she has a faster movement speed than most characters in the game, Tracer becomes a real nuisance to actually pin down and do any meaningful damage to. And if you do get some meaningful damage on her, she has her second ability, Recall. Recalled! Which has a much longer, you know, cooldown than her blinks, but it essentially teleports Tracer 3 seconds in the past, and she goes back to that position, she goes back to that health state. It cleanses, so if you, let's say you're playing Ashe, and you set a Tracer on fire, and then she recalls, she is no longer on fire. If you throw stickies, like you're playing Echo, you throw stickies on Tracer, she recalls, stickies ain't going with her. So essentially every maybe 13, 15 seconds, Tracer has a get out of jail free card. She's afforded 1 mistake. It also has the additional benefit of reloading Tracer's pulse pistols. So whatever, it doesn't matter what state they were in 3 seconds ago, it's back to full. And finally, Tracer's ultimate is the Pulse Bomb. Time to drop the bomb. Tracer has the fastest ult in the game. Both in the sense that it takes the least amount of points. Overwatch just calls them points. It's really hard to define what that means. Just think damage, plan objective, healing, pretty much anything that contributes something, you'll be getting points. So Pulse Bomb has the lowest points in the game, and Tracer's pretty much constantly going to be dealing damage. So Tracer's going to have her ult more often than not, which means that you should not be afraid to just sling it. You know, don't hold on to it. Like, there's no really great combos. You can maybe get the Pulse Bomb Grav combo with Zarya, but, I mean, it's not super definite. A much better application is just Pulse Bomb up to a healer, slap a Pulse Bomb on it. Pulse Bomb up to maybe a 75%, 50% tank, Pulse Bomb, guy's gone, right? If you can confirm 1 kill with each Pulse Bomb, that was a successful Pulse Bomb. It's a sticky grenade. It's essentially a sticky grenade with no range. Now, of course, last year they introduced the perk system. The perk system is only for normal quick play. And I think maybe 6v6, I'm not sure. It's not in Stadium. It's not really in Arcade. And each character gets a minor perk, their choice of 2 between a minor perk and a major perk. For Tracer's minor perks, she has one that increases her blink distance by 20%, and one that every single melee hit grants her 20 ammo. To be honest, neither of these are outstanding. You know, Tracer's reload is pretty fast. Most of the time that she's meleeing somebody is to finish them off. So that perk's not, you know, crazy. And the blink distance is nice on paper. You know, you go from like 7.5 to, what would it be? It'd be 9. But the problem with that is if you play Tracer a lot, you might develop some muscle memory. Tracer has a lot of sort of vibes, right? You just feel like you'll be able to do something. You just get a feel for the character. And increasing that blink distance might throw off that muscle memory. So, just, you know, take that in consideration when you're picking your perks. For Tracer's major perks, health packs restore 1 blink charge. And the other one is Recall grants 50 overhealth and 20 ammo. So, Recall already gives you full ammo. This gives you an additional 20 ammo on top of your normal 40 round clip, right? And also 50 overhealth, regardless of what your health situation was 3 seconds ago, is pretty good. Because, you know, that's essentially Tracer has another third of her HP, right? Health packs is also good, because of course with the sub-roll passive, you're going to be picking up health packs like candy, right? So you get more blink charges. You're probably using blink charges to get to the health pack in the first place. This just allows you to get up and go even faster. Both major perks are pretty good. Me personally, I probably go with the health pack one, unless it's a map where a lot of the health packs are super out of the way, in which case I'm going to be relying on Recall way more than health packs, and then I'll take Recall, right? But again, that's where that map knowledge and that matchup knowledge comes into play. These are not like there is no defined best one. I think they've done a great job in designing them. There is no defined best one. You shouldn't be taking the same one every match. You should be putting a little bit of thought into what am I doing in this match? Who am I playing against? Where am I? And make your decisions accordingly. Now, what is Tracer's role? Well, obviously, with the sub-role flanker, Tracer is meant to take off angles, right? Instead of pushing it down main with your tanks and your other DPS and your healers, you want to be going through side passages, getting behind the enemies. You want to be harassing healers, getting kills if you can, harassing DPS, right? Healers are your top priority, right? But if you're bothering healers a lot, you're probably going to attract the attention of another DPS. If you can survive with that pressure, that's great, because that's damage and pressure that's off your healers, your tank. Really, Tracer is a pest. She is meant to annoy the enemy team, secure kills if she can, absolutely. She has the mobility to push a little bit deeper than most characters can afford to. You should use Pulse Bomb to secure a kill where, maybe there's just too much healing, maybe they have, like, more health than you can comfortably deal with, and just finish all that. And again, if you miss a pulse bomb and Yu does nothing, don't feel too bad. You'll have your freaking pulse bomb back in another 30 seconds to a minute. It's really no big deal to miss them. It's just use them if you got them, because you're going to have another one in moments. Obviously, you should be avoiding death if possible. But because Tracer has so much mobility, if she dies, it's not too big a deal. She'll get back to the battlefield faster than anybody else will, with the exception of, like, maybe Ball, maybe Vendetta. She's a lot like Spider-Man in Marvel Rivals, where in a situation where you trade with Spider-Man, you've lost that trade, because Spider-Man will get back to the battlefield way faster than you will. So that's essentially a positive trade for Spider-Man. Aim is important with Tracer, like most DPS. If you can't aim, if you're not hitting your shots, you're not doing any damage, which is your role. Map knowledge is way more important for Tracer than it is for a majority of DPS characters, because you need to know alternate routes, you need to know health pack locations, you need to know where enemy characters are likely to be. Like, if there's a high ground, there's probably going to be a sniper. That's easy pickings for Tracer. If there's healers, they're going to be behind the tank. How do I get around the tank? If the tank turns around, how do I get out of there? And, of course, mechanical ability. So that's obviously with your aim. That's a part of mechanical ability. But also strafing. Tracer does not have any HP, right? I think she has 175 these days. That goes fast. Like, an Ashe headshot, you're critical. A Widow headshot, you're dead. Like, that's the way that it is. Hanzo, yeah, you're toast. Even a good point blank-ish Reaper headshot, you're gone. So you need to be able to strafe, engage appropriately, get out. You're just annoying these people, so they make mistakes. But I think that's, smaller episode, because, there's not as much depth on the surface, I think, as fighting games. Really, it's the ability list. If I'm honest, Tracers has less abilities, so there's less to talk about. Absolutely play the game. The new update is freaking fantastic. Overwatch is the best it's ever been. I'm loving this game right now. Now, if you only play fighting games, don't bother. But if you play other stuff, Overwatch is where it's at. I'll check you next month, son. This is the bonus. Man, I am loving Overwatch this season. They're doing the whole, when I'm recording this, it's over now. It just finished. But they had the whole conquest thing where you choose Overwatch or Talon. Great event. Really creative. A lot of great rewards. Listen, my ass is picking, besides getting the rewards, okay? My ass is with Overwatch, okay? Winston been good to me. Winston been so good to me. And you motherfuckers out here picking Talon like they done nothing for you? I like Vendetta as much as the next guy, obviously. But the freaking, to just betray Winston like he's nothing to nobody makes me sick. Honestly, the disparity between Overwatch's newest update and Marvel Rivals is crazy. Because obviously I play both games, and I like both games. But I am way less frustrated with Overwatch on a game-to-game basis than I am with Marvel Rivals. Maybe it's the community, but that feels like blaming the wrong people, honestly. The balance of Marvel Rivals is just so all over the place. It's horrific. Like, characters, it's meant to be a hero fantasy. I get that. I understand that. But when some characters are downright unplayable and other characters are a must pick or must ban, we're not doing hero fantasy anymore, dude. That's just like terrible meta. Because in Overwatch, obviously Overwatch has meta. I play on console. Hit scan is the meta. The aim assist update that they did a few seasons back was pretty bad, and it has made Ashe and Soldier and now the new Emery just unbearable to play against, right? And then God forbid they throw in a Zim, a little aimbot garbage, and it's unrunnable. That being said, Tracer is still playable, you know? If you're good enough with these other characters, it's easier for sure to play hit scan, absolutely. But if you're good enough, you can get around it. In Marvel Rivals, if you're not playing meta and the enemy team is playing meta, you have to be so much better than they are to win. And it's frustrating because it's not like meta, you know, you only fight meta in ranked. You fight meta every freaking game, basically. Like near the end of the original Overwatch's life cycle, before they went to 2, they had like shield meta and they had goats and stuff, and all that stuff was really bad to play against. It was not fun at all. But you didn't see it that much in normal matches. It was really like, I would say, higher end of Plat, diamond and up, right? If you weren't in there, you didn't really see it that much. Quick play, you like never saw it because people were tired of playing it in comp, so they wouldn't play it in quick play. In Marvel Rivals, it is every single game you're going against. It's Gambit, you know, it's Invisible Woman, it's Magneto, it's what's her name, Elsa, it's Hawkeye. It's exhausting, man. And then the balance changes come out and they're not doing anything. So, when I recorded this, they've released the patch notes for Season 7, which is White Fox is coming out. And the balance changes, there are some good changes. They said that they're reducing how fast everybody gets their ult. That's a good change. That's a universal change. It'll probably impact some people more than others, but I think, you know, no examples pop into my mind that that's bad. Great change. Everything else, though, is like, they nerfed Emma. She has the lowest win rate of every tank. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know why they nerfed her. They nerfed Angela. And Angela, you know, she has a high win rate, but that's because she's hard to play. And obviously the meta kind of counters that. Like, they play Thing, you just can't play Emma. They play or Angela, sorry. If they have Invisible Woman, you basically can't play Angela. And then they like kind of buff Magneto, and Magneto's the best tank. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing. They're still nerfing Gambit. They're still nerfing Daredevil. You know, Elsa's been an absolute terrorist all season. Well, half season. And they nerfed her, but not in like a meaningful way. And I understand I think a lot of people are impatient and they want characters to just be killed. But I can appreciate the slow making sure we make good changes so that people who actually main these characters aren't gutted. But there's like slow and then there's incremental. And we are doing incremental changes every patch. And it's exhausting and it will eventually kill the game. Which is bad because I like the game and the game has inspired Overwatch to be better. And the art style's fantastic and the story's pretty good. Like, there are developers at NetEase who do care about this game and want to see, like, there's passion there. I just need to see it from the balance team as well, because the balance team is letting everybody down. Alright, that's my rant over. Get out of here, little rascals.